Welcome to the latest episode of Beatin' and Bangin'. I'm your host, Kyle Dalton. Today's video is a recap from the weekend at Richmond. I've got 3 interesting news items, including the heartfelt words from Bubba Wallace that he offered to his spotter, Freddie Kraft, moments before the race's start, the harsh words Joey Logano had about NASCAR's broken system after his profanity-laced tirade the week before at Pocono, and our most curious news item, why Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson is lying about what happened since their run-in last week at the Tricky Triangle. First, let's start with Bubba Wallace. In case you hadn't heard, the father of Freddie Kraft, Wallace's longtime spotter, who has developed a following of his own as co-host of the Door Bumper Clear podcast, died on Saturday. I wrote about the sad news and was curious what the driver would say, if anything, before the start of the race about the absence of Kraft. He did. So did crew chief Booty Barker. Here's what they had to say.
We're going to miss Freddy. Wish him the best. You remember now, stay under that tire. And the 5 things that are important, and we got the best 5 things. So, don't take no prisoners, all right? Yeah, simple. Freddie, I know you're listening. Love you, brother. Got your pops riding with us, so I'm going to sit back and let him drive it. Appreciate you all. See you at the end of it.
Early in the race, it sure looked like Tom Kraft was riding shotgun in the number 23 car as it ran up front, and Wallace led 80 laps, the most ever in a single race in his Cup Series career. He also picked up an important 41 stage points, somewhat cushioning his margin above the cut line. But after a bad pit stop, the 2311 racing car faded in the back end of the race and finished 12th. Now let's go back to Saturday. That's when the drivers met with reporters and revisited the week before at Pocono. For Joey Logano, that meant uncomfortably addressing his tirade at track workers, which we talked about last week. The 2-time champion candidly admitted it was a bad choice of words, but he was still not backing down for the reason for his frustration. That being the process of the tow truck unnecessarily destroying his car on the trip back to pit road.
Bottom line is we need a better way of doing it, right? No one's in a good spot there. It's not fair to the safety workers. It's not fair to the racers that to be put in that spot to where just flat tires can ruin your day. It's happened to me. Like I said, that was the 4th time. It's happened to probably every single driver in a garage. It's a broken system. Something is wrong. We need to figure out a way to do it better. There's some alternatives that I don't know if it's any better that are out there. Like I said, I had a lot of conversations. I called out on Monday morning. I said, hey, I almost want to talk about it. And then we had a council meeting on Thursday, and we talked about it some more. There's just not there's definitely options, but none of them are simple.
You can certainly sense the frustration in Logano's voice. This is obviously far from over. We'll keep track of it in the future. And finally, our last story is a bizarre one. Bizarre only in the fact that someone is lying, and I'm not exactly sure why. Let me explain. On Saturday, Denny Hamlin met with the media, and surprise, surprise, what happened at the end of the Pocono race with Kyle Larson was the big topic. The Joe Gibbs Racing driver acknowledged they had communicated and was asked if he had a goal in mind during that communication, what it was, and if he achieved it.
There's always going to be a difference of opinion, and sometimes you have to agree to disagree, and that's okay. But the biggest thing is you need to, I think, hearing the other person out and understanding why they're frustrated. Sometimes you know, when you get caught up in your own world and thinking about your own team and how important it is to them, you know, and you have an incident like that, you do need to sit down and take a second to hear the other side, and I totally understand that for sure. But yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, I wanted to have it in person. I did because I thought that, you know, we should have that type of relationship, and but you know, the details of it won't come from my end.
So the details won't come out from Hamlin. However, some very interesting and conflicting details came out a day later when NBC's Dave Burns asked Larson if the two had hashed things out.
Just a little bit over text, a couple nights ago. Yeah, he wanted to meet up, but I just didn't really feel like we needed to. So I felt like just briefly texting was probably the best thing to do. Because I think in person I probably would have ended up more upset with him, and he probably would have been upset with me as well. So I think it was the best thing just to briefly text.
Okay, so if I have this straight, Hamlin said they met in person because that's the kind of relationship they have. Meanwhile, Larson said they didn't meet at all and only briefly texted because he felt getting together would have only made things worse. Someone isn't telling the truth. And that raises another question. Why? I'm really unclear as to why. Do you have any theories? If so, I'd love to hear them. Let me know in the comments section. Also, let me know what you think about Logano and what he had to say on NASCAR's broken towing process. Alright guys, thanks for checking out the latest video. If you like the information you get from the channel, please let your NASCAR friends know what we're doing here at Beatin' and Bangin'. And if you want to read more NASCAR related articles like this video, go check out my stories at sportscasting.com. There's a link in the description. We'll see you in the next video and have a great rest of your day.